Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, to this video today. My name is Markus and I'm a photographer. Today I want to talk about my experience with the Fujifilm XS20 about 10 months later since I bought it. Let's start with my overall experience. I just came back from a short trip to Verona in Italy, and then I got home for one day, and then I went to another trip like 7 days. I got my Fujifilm XS20 with me, and I also got the Canon R5 with me. Today I'm filming actually on the Canon R5. I use a 50mm 1.8. That's it. And some light in the background today that I don't look too pale. Yeah, here's my baby, the Fujifilm XS20. There is the 23mm 2.0. This was the lens that I used the most because I think it's very convenient. I only have two lenses actually at the moment for this camera, and this is the Sigma 56mm I think, which is in full frame like an 85, and this is the 23, like an equivalent in full frame around 35mm. The past 10 months, most of the time I had this camera with me, or at least it doesn't mean that I always used it, but I had it with me because I wanted to see how my behavior would be, because I couldn't imagine that I have two cameras and actually using both of these cameras. Don't know if you watched one of my videos at the beginning. I owned a Fujifilm camera, I think it was the X105 and the X-T5 before, and both of them I gave away because I had this Canon R5 my whole time because I used this for my work, and I didn't find a spot for the cameras that I bought from Fujifilm. And this time I was kind of convincing myself that I want to use this camera. I always wanted to own a Fujifilm camera, and I think it wasn't the fault of Fujifilm that I didn't use it. It was my fault because I haven't found a spot where to use this. The problem I had at first was that it didn't feel like a beginner camera, like a one where, you know, where you just take normal pictures and that's fine, like with a phone for example. But it also for me doesn't feel like a high-end pro camera. It is actually an absolute very good middle ground camera, at least for me, in the past 10 months. I figured out for myself that I used it for everything but my commercial shootings or when I have to do like jobs. The camera was with me, but I always used the Canon because I feel safe with it. Actually at the moment I'm thinking about buying the next, I don't know what the next camera from Fujifilm will be like. Think about switching systems completely. My whole photography equipment and the whole environment is built around the Canon system. But I really think about this because not only I do think that I love the Fujifilm style and the film simulations, but I also like the look and the feel that I have when shooting with Fujifilm. I had several conversations with other photographers and also with models, and they asked me why I use a Fujifilm as a second camera. Most of the time I answered because I feel like using it. might be a strange answer, but I think the whole thing about Fuji is not only that it takes great pictures, and this is one point that I recognized over the past 10 months. The camera takes great pictures. I think you can also do pro work with this camera when you know how to use it probably. This was my answer mainly because the feel of using this is giving me like a special thing, and some people ask me what camera they should buy next. Go in a shop and just take the camera in your hands and try to feel the camera. For me, for example, when I touch a Sony camera, when I hold a Sony camera, that's not for me. Sony is a perfect brand, but it's not for me. And I think this is what most photographers or beginners or semi-professionals have to figure out, that you can own the best camera in the world and the best equipment in the world, but when you are not connected to that camera or the feel of the camera or the style, you have to feel that this is something you want to work with. And with Sony, for example, I didn't have this. I was in the shop and I was grabbing it, I was going out with the camera for 2 hours, and I didn't get the vibe of Sony. No hate against Sony, because I think there are so many great cameras out there, but this is not for me. Past 10 months, I saw that Fuji, and especially this camera, is absolutely for me. It's not too big, it's not too small, I know that I can trust this camera. I know that not every shot has to be perfect because the style of Fujifilm or the film simulations allow me that the photos have this kind of atmosphere and this iconic look, even when some pictures are not in focus or when they are not sharp enough, or and this is something that I really love about this camera, that I feel more free in creating pictures, because I have the feeling when I take the same shot with the Canon, I want the shot to be perfect. I don't know why, maybe it's just me, but when I have the same idea with the Fuji, I start to be more creative. I start to think in another way. And I think that's why I kept this camera this time, because I felt like for a long time in my photography, I want to see other stuff. I want to approach pictures in another way. Some pictures may not be good, but it's fun. Like in my last video where I was in Verona, I was just taking pictures. And I was just doing it since then and before that video too. And this is what makes this camera so fun for me. And when I have both cameras with me, like I said on my trip in Italy, I mainly use this camera just because I know the JPEGs will look really good. They have the specific looks that Fujifilm look, and they look good out of camera. Most of the time I don't edit anything because I want the pictures to be like this natural look, this film look. Like when I go back 40, 50 years, it was not normal to Photoshop a picture. This is what this camera does for me. It connects me more with the natural aspect of photography again. Because when I take a picture with the Canon, automatically I think, yeah, I will retouch it again after it. I will do something with the picture. But with the Fujifilm, for me, it doesn't happen. So what else can I tell you without boring you? Not many has changed. I like the size of the camera. I like that you can switch the lenses of the camera. I like the agility of the camera. I like the wheels and there are not too many wheels. I think on the X-T5 there is 1 or 2 wheels more, and this was too much for me. Let me think about if there is something I don't like. I think it's just how I use it sometimes. When I grab it, for example, there's a wheel here and there's a wheel here. Like, I hope the focus is right. Yeah, focus here? No. There's a wheel here and there's a wheel in the front here, here. And sometimes when I grab the camera, I spin the wheels sometimes. Sometimes I have to be careful when shooting, then I wonder what is going on with the settings. And I mean, this is the only thing that comes to my mind right now. What I always forget is that there's a flash also built in, because I rarely use flash in my whole photography career because I like natural light, I like continuous lights. I made some experience with this flash and it was also pretty fine, and you can create a special look with it. I haven't experienced this too much, or I haven't experimented too much with it, but you guys out there, try it out. It's just, I mean, it's there. The battery life is very good. I think in Italy, I used this camera for 7 days, every day, and I think I charged it like 3 times. I always had the feeling that I don't have to load the batteries, but I did it just for safety reasons, because I, of course, didn't want to that the camera will shut down over the day. Sometimes the pictures, or this may be a good thing because it can also be a surprise, that on the display here, there's I have a protection on it. The resolution is not high enough for my eye. I don't know how to describe it. When I see the pictures here on the screen, I think, oh wow, this picture doesn't look that good, but then I see it on the big screen and I'm like, okay, this picture looks great and it's fine and super sharp, but on this screen maybe the resolution is not high enough. I'm not that technical freak. All the points that I told you that I don't like are not really that much important, to be honest, because I mean, with the wheels here, maybe it's just my stupid fingers. I don't know. There is really nothing that I hate about this camera, and I'm not sponsored by Fujifilm. I would give an absolutely recommendation if you look for a camera that is not like 4,000 or 5,000 euros, but is absolutely better than a camera for 300 or 400 euros or your smartphone, then I would absolutely tell you to buy this camera. I love it so much. I think it's about 1,200, 1,400, around this. And you get a very good camera. Even after 10 months, I would not give this baby back. I love it so much. I hope this helped you, made a decision. If you have any questions, write it in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. See you. Bye.